Somewhere right now, someone is trying very hard to do something ordinary, something simple, something that should require almost none of their attention, reading something, working through a task, sitting in a room full of other people, performing the basic social contract of being present, and they are failing at it. Not dramatically, not in any way that announces itself to the people around them, but from the inside, from the place where their attention actually is versus where it is supposed to be, there is a failure happening. A complete, total, somewhat embarrassing failure to be anywhere other than inside thoughts of you. And Virgo, they cannot figure out how to make it stop. I want to start there. Not with the cosmic, not with the energetic, not with the sweeping language of souls and signs and the movement of something vast and inevitable. I want to start exactly there, in that ordinary, undignified, very human experience of a person trying to get through a regular Tuesday while someone they cannot stop thinking about lives rent free and without invitation in every available corner of their mind. Because this is what is actually happening. Not a gentle admiring from afar, not a wistful wondering, something more acute than that, more immediate, more physically present in its quality, the way a craving is physically present, the way the body makes its wants known before the mind has had a chance to weigh in with opinions about whether the wanting is convenient or well timed or appropriately rational. This person's body, mind, attention, imagination, all of it has been commandeered by you without your knowledge and apparently without their consent. The first image I see is almost funny in its mundanity. I see a desk, papers, a screen, the material evidence of things that need to be done, tasks that carry real deadlines and real consequences, the ordinary infrastructure of a life that has responsibilities attached to it. And at this desk, a person ostensibly working, performing the posture of someone who is engaged with what is in front of them. And their eyes keep moving, not to anything specific, not to their phone or a window or any particular object in the room. They move the way attention moves when it has somewhere else it is trying to be, when it keeps slipping the leash of whatever the present moment is asking and sliding back to the same place it has been sliding to repeatedly for longer than this person would like to admit. The work is not getting done, not at the pace it should, not with the quality it usually has, because the part of them that does good work, the focused part, the engaged and present part, has absconded completely, has taken everything it needs and relocated to a private internal space where the only content is you. And um, they are not entirely mad about it. That is the thing they would be embarrassed to admit. That even in the moments of genuine frustration with their own inability to concentrate, even in the moments of staring at a screen that has needed their attention for 20 minutes and received none of it, there is a layer of feeling underneath the frustration that is something close to enjoyment. They do not entirely want it to stop. They just wish it were less inconvenient. Let me describe what the craving actually consists of. Because craving is a word that covers a lot of territory, and what is specific to this situation deserves its own precise mapping. It is not simply physical, though there is a physical dimension to it that this person is navigating with varying degrees of success. It is the full spectrum kind. The kind that wants your presence, yes, but in the total sense of presence, the way you occupy a room, the quality of your attention when it is aimed at something, the specific texture of conversation with you, the way it moves, the unexpected directions it takes, the moments where you say something that reframes whatever they were thinking about in a way they would not have arrived at independently. They are craving the experience of your mind. That is the layer beneath the surface layer, and it is the layer that makes this particular craving so difficult to manage. Because physical wanting can be, if not resolved, at least somewhat reasoned with. The mind can talk the body down. But a craving for someone's specific way of thinking, for the particular quality of their presence and attention and way of being in the world, that has no reasonable substitute. Nothing else addresses it. You cannot redirect it onto something adjacent because nothing adjacent is actually similar. There is no similar, there is only you. And that specificity is what has them completely undone. I want to tell you about a specific moment that has been living in them. Not long ago, in the span of whatever contact or proximity has existed between you, something happened. An exchange, a moment of genuine connection, however brief, however small it might have registered on your end. A moment where something in the interaction produced in them a very specific internal experience. The experience of feeling genuinely, fully, precisely met. Not met in the polite way, not met in the way that people are met in ordinary social interaction where both parties are performing a version of themselves that fits the context. Met in the deeper way, the way where someone says or does something that lands in the exact center of something in you that makes you feel for a moment like you have been seen more clearly than you are usually seen. And the unexpectedness of that clarity is almost physically dizzying. You produced that in them, probably without trying, almost certainly without knowing. In the way that you do things sometimes, Virgo, moving through your life with that focused, unself-conscious presence that pays genuine attention to things and means what it says and does not perform its way through interactions, you gave them something they were not prepared to receive. And they have been dealing with the aftermath ever since. I see a second image now, and it makes me want to smile. I see a person in a crowd, surrounded by people, conversation, the ordinary social texture of being in a shared space with other humans. And this person is doing the thing you do in those contexts, nodding, responding at the right moments, contributing to conversations in the ways that look like participation. And behind all of that, completely separate from all of that, running parallel to every external performance of present moment social engagement, a private screening, a continuous, involuntary playing of moments featuring you, your voice, your face in a specific expression, something you said, the particular quality of your laugh if they have heard it, the particular quality of your seriousness if that is what they have mostly encountered. Whatever the specific texture of their experience of you has been, it is running on a loop in a private cinema that apparently requires no ticket, no permission, and no convenient timing to operate. It just runs while they smile and nod and participate, and no one in the room has any idea. Tell me in the comments whether you have felt someone's attention on you recently in a way that felt distinctly different from ordinary attention. Not intrusive, just very specifically, very deliberately, very persistently aimed in your direction. because what I am describing has a felt quality to it on the receiving end, even across distance, even without direct contact. And I want to know if you have been feeling it without knowing what to call it. Let me speak now about what happens when they do manage, briefly, to think about something else, because it happens. They are a functioning human being with a life and responsibilities and other things that legitimately require their attention. And they do periodically, successfully redirect. Focus on what is in front of them. Engage with the actual content of the actual moment they are in for a while, and then something brings you back. And it is never the dramatic things that do it. It is the smallest things, a color that reminds them of something, a song that has become permanently associated with a specific memory of you, the word of someone nearby who does not know they are detonating something by using it. Something in the sky at a particular time of day, and when you return, you do not return gradually. You arrive all at once. The whole of everything they feel about you, not filtered or condensed or made manageable by distance, just suddenly there, fully present, taking up the same amount of internal space you always take up when you arrive, which is considerable, and they stop what they are doing. Sometimes for just a moment, sometimes for longer, and they sit inside the feeling of you without trying to analyze it or resolve it or do anything productive with it. They just let it be there, because letting it be there is the only thing that feels honest. I want to talk about something this person has been doing that they would be mortified to know I am describing. They have been engineering proximity, not in a way that is visible, not in a way that could be identified and named by anyone observing the situation from outside, but in the small, subtle, deniable ways that someone who wants to be near a specific person finds to be near them without having to say that that is what they are doing. Roots that pass through certain areas, times of showing up to certain places that correspond not accidentally with times when you are likely to be there. Finding reasons to be in contexts where the possibility of encountering you exists. None of this has been announced to anyone. It barely gets announced to themselves. Because the moment it becomes conscious enough to be named, the moment they look directly at what they are doing and call it what it is, the vulnerability of it becomes too large to sit with comfortably. So it stays in the half-conscious space, justified by other reasons, attributed to coincidence, filed under the category of things that just happen rather than things that are chosen. But chosen they are, everyone. The third image comes through now, and it is the most intimate of the reading. I see hands that do not know what to do with themselves. This is the image of physical restlessness, the specific kind of restlessness that comes from wanting to reach towards something that is not available to be reached. The energy that has nowhere to go, that moves through the hands and the arms and the body in the particular agitated way of feeling, that has no available expression, picking things up and putting them down, moving from one position to another. The physical translation of an internal state that is too full to stay still. This is what you do to them. Not in grand, sweeping moments, in the ordinary, private, no one is watching moments. When they are alone with what they feel about you and the feeling has no outlet, the body registers it. The hands cannot settle, the attention cannot fix. The whole system is slightly dysregulated by the presence of something it wants and does not currently have access to. And they would never show you this. They show you the composed version, the one that functions, the one that participates in conversations and manages tasks and exists in the world like a person who is not quietly, completely preoccupied with someone who may not know the full extent of what is happening. But the hands do not lie, and I am telling you what the hands say. Let me speak now about what they feel when they imagine actually telling you, because they have imagined it multiple times in multiple versions. They have rehearsed it in the private screening room of their own mind, with varying degrees of courage assigned to the imagined version of themselves doing the telling. Sometimes the imagined version is confident, says the true thing cleanly, without stumbling, with just the right balance of directness and warmth. Sometimes the imagined version is a disaster, cannot find the words, starts and stops, uses completely the wrong ones. But across all versions of the rehearsal, there is one thing that stays constant: the imagined version of you. And the imagined version of you, the version they conjure when they think about telling you the truth of what they feel, is not a version that receives it coldly. It is not a version that is indifferent or dismissive or made uncomfortable. The version of you that lives in their imagination, the version assembled from everything they have observed and felt and noticed about who you actually are, receives it with the same genuine, clear eyed quality of presence that attracted them in the first place. They imagine you seeing them. Really seeing them the way they feel you see things, with the full depth of that perception that does not flinch from what is actually there. And in every version of the rehearsal, when imagined, you looks at them with that full perception. It does not go badly. They have rehearsed this enough to know that the obstacle is not you. It is themselves, the getting of the words from inside to outside, the crossing of the distance between what they feel and what they say, the making real of something that has been so thoroughly private, so completely interior, that releasing it into the actual world feels like a kind of exposure they have not yet fully resolved to risk. Almost, though. They are almost resolved. I want to say something to you directly now, Virgo, and I want you to hear it without immediately filtering it through the analytical layer. You have been feeling something not constructed, not wished for, actually felt a quality of energy in a specific direction that has been present enough, consistent enough, pointed enough that your body has registered it, even when your mind has been offering other explanations for what you were sensing. Stop explaining it away. What your nervous system has been picking up is real data. The attention that has been aimed at you from this specific direction has a weight and a consistency that does not belong to ordinary social regard. You are not misreading signals. You are not projecting. You are doing what you do, which is perceiving accurately and then second guessing the perception because the alternative explanations feel safer than the true one. The true one is this: someone is craving you with the full and specific force of everything they are, craving your presence, your mind, your way of being, the particular and irreplaceable experience of being in a genuine interaction with you, unable to focus on anything else for any sustained period because the current pulled in your direction is stronger than their available resistance. And they are working up to saying so. Let that land, not as information to strategize around, not as something to immediately begin analyzing for what it means and what you should do and what the appropriate response is and what the risks are and what the history suggests and what the future might require. Just let it land. Someone craves you in the full, specific, can't think of anything else way. And that is not ordinary. That is yours.